Characteristics of inventory in the supply chain. Not all inventories are managed the same way in the supply chain. Depending on channel positioning, companies will have a very different view as to the level of risk, the variety of inventory stocked, the amount of time the inventory is expected to be stored, and the quantity or volume of inventory needed to sustain customer service levels. The difference between these decisions can be seen by reviewing how they impact the manufacturers, distributors, and retailers who occupy various positions in the supply chain. Let's take a closer look to inventory at manufacturers. They usually regard it as a high risk because it's an amount of money that is visible in the balance sheet. Manufacturers have to cover for supply uncertainty with inventory, which covers the production lead time for their product. Production lead times are usually high, thus material inventories are also high. For example, in order to make tires, a manufacturer needs to store raw materials like rubber, chemicals, and steel components. They must have plenty of these raw materials in their warehouse, and they might be there for a long time before they are finally used in the final product. In product variety, the focus is on raw materials and sub-assemblies. Most of the manufacturing companies take raw materials and build it into sub-assemblies and then into final products. In a lot of cases, also sub-assemblies are sourced from other suppliers. The storage time is relatively long due to the fact that we have to store them for a long time to cover the production lead times. Lead times can be shortened by using concepts of just-in-time or vendor-managed inventory. In case of VMI, the inventory stays most of the time with the vendor, and he is taking care that it will be there on time. Both concepts will have a positive effect on the lead time and inventory. Finally, regarding the volume, products will always come in bulk. Only full pallets, full truckloads of items are being shipped to a main factory, thus no single items are coming in. That brings us to the next level of the supply chain, distribution. Distributors buy finished goods in bulk from a lot of different sources. They aim to sell them as fast as possible in smaller lots to other distributors and retailers. In a distribution company, the risk level is medium. Usually, there is inventory to cover for uncertainties in demand and lead time to the market. Considering final products in a distribution company, there's a high variety of products which can include spare parts. The storage time in a distribution center should not be very long. It should be sufficient to cover for the market demand. It could be longer in case of what we call stockpiling, and that is for instance to cover for seasonality and summer peaks. The typical activity of distribution companies is to break bulk and consolidation of goods. They buy large quantities and ship it out in smaller quantities and trying to combine it, consolidate it with other shipments to the same customer. Last but not least, the third group for which inventory is crucial, the retailers. Big retail operations require a large variety of products being stocked, thus more risk. It is not uncommon that major retailers carry thousands, even millions of different stock items, sometimes even similar items. The broad assortment is their unique selling point. Nevertheless, while the variety a retail store may offer can be very high, the store's commitment to stock large volume is not very deep as shelf space is limited. For retail companies, the risk level is usually low. They know what they are selling. In general, retailers depend on high levels of sales and very short supplier delivery times to keep turnover rates as high as possible. Their focus is on the final product and a broad assortment. Storage time is limited because they have a limited shelf space. What they sell is always the single unit. A special type of retailers are the discount retailers. They sell final products, but they focus on cash cows and short-term wins. The storage time is extremely short because velocity is king. Goods must move, otherwise they will not make a fast profit out of it. In the discounter world, it's all about quantity and speed. Therefore, you will most of the times find bulk goods coming in and placed directly in the store. On the other end of the spectrum, you will find the specialty retailers. Their risk level is high because they need to have a deep assortment. Customers come especially to their stores because they find, within a limited but specialized scope of products, what they are searching for. The storage time is usually long because the velocity of the products is low and they are focusing on single item units only. Another special type of retail companies with specific inventory characteristics are the e-commerce companies. They are a combination of distribution and retail companies. The risk level is relatively low to medium. They focus on final products with a broad assortment. In the warehouse and transportation activities, there should be a high efficiency. Short times because customers want their products very fast. Typical for e-commerce companies is that most of the orders are single line, single piece. To summarize, we look into the characteristics of inventory for manufacturers, distributors, and retailers, and especially in retailing, the discount retailers, specialty retailers, and e-commerce. I hope you valued my expert view on the characteristics of inventory in the supply chain.